Hey, speak for yourself, listeners. Before we start the show, I wanted to tell you about our brand new Fox Sports app and website, foxsports.com. Reimagined for the modern sports fan. Go ahead, download the new app now. You don't even have to pause this episode. Every day on the new app and website, you'll see the top stories in sports, plus a rich world of written content, videos, social media, and analytics to give you a 360-degree view of the most important stories of the day. Streaming live TV has never been so easy or elegant. Every Fox Sports game, including all pregame and postgame shows, are just one click away. For the extra invested fan, we also go deep with real-time wagering lines, trending prop bets, win probability, and key player projections. So download the new Fox Sports app or visit www.foxsports.com. Now, let's start the show. I'm Marcellus Wiley, looking amazing, I must say. The mirror told me so. And Emmanuel Acho over there looking great as well.
Marcellus, I have one favor. I need you to grow accustomed to looking good so it doesn't shock you every time you do so.
Nope, never am. Speaking of looking good, can you show America that tie bar right there?
It's just a little rose gold. It's not even nothing special.
That ain't government issue. That ain't the one we get from Fox right there. This boy out here spending that dough.
Start the show.
Oprah money. Let's get into it with our top story brought to you by Popeye's Chicken Sandwich. That's my sponsor. That's right. All right, Aaron Rodgers will play in his first NFC Championship game at Lambeau Field Sunday when his Packers face the Bucs on Fox. Tom Brady had 3 touchdowns last week to earn a trip to the championship game in his first season in Tampa. Rodgers also had 3 touchdowns over the weekend to get Green Bay a step closer to the Super Bowl. So Acho with the Rose Gold. Which quarterback is more valuable to their team like that is to your tie? Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers?
This is a really good topic, a really good question, but a very simple answer. Aaron Rodgers is the most valuable player in the NFL, so how could he not be the most valuable player to his team as opposed to Tom Brady?
Next topic.
That's where it starts.
Wow. That was right under my nose. I ain't see it. That's hilarious.
You're the most valuable player in the league.
Duh.
Surely you're most valuable to your team, but I can't just give you a 30-second take, so let me back it up with some substance. Let me back it up with some context, and let me earn this check. In the biggest games of Tom Brady's season this season, in the biggest games of Tom Brady's season this season, Tom Brady hasn't been the best player, nor the most important player.
I'm listening.
Let's go to the game we all remember most. The Buccaneers beat the Packers early on, 38-10. How did they win that game? Because Aaron Rodgers threw one of 3 pick sixes of his career. He goes into that game having only thrown 2 pick sixes, and he nearly throws 2 in that game.
Woo.
That's shout out to the Buccaneers defense. Okay, the next biggest game, the most memorable game we think of this season, Tom Brady and those Buccaneers versus the Saints. But in that game, Tom Brady, they dismantle the Saints, if you will, 30-20. Tom Brady had the 2nd worst completion percentage all season. His 6th worst passer rating all season, threw for his 3rd fewest yards all season. So, in the most dominant games that Tampa has had this season, Tom Brady hasn't been the most dominant player. On the flip side, Aaron Rodgers, the 2 games you think of this season, most important, most impressive, if you will. The Packers, they beat the Saints in New Orleans, week 3, 37-30. Aaron Rodgers, he went off that game. Passer rating, 108, 3 tugs, no picks. Aaron Rodgers balled. Okay. How about in that playoff game versus the Rams? The #1 defense in the league, if you will. Aaron Rodgers, once again, 2 tugs, no picks, did his thing, making dudes jump for the ball, running it in for touchdowns. So the Packers' success is contingent, exclusively contingent, if I can use 2 big words back to back. The Packers' success is exclusively contingent upon Aaron Rodgers' performance, while the Buccaneers, they have success even when Tom Brady don't play well. That's the difference.
Okay, Acho, I disagree with you. You should have stayed high. When you were floating around there, hey, this is your captain, 30,000 feet. You should have stayed up there, but then you started to descend. You got stuck in them weeds. You start parsing game and game.
I had to.
Your first line was enough. If you could have just walked off set with the Rose Gold, you would have won.
We had 1 hour, 59 minutes left.
Hey, man, sometimes you got to do what you got to do. But you stuck around. Now I got to cut you. Tom Brady is more valuable to his team, and I'm going to take a different approach.
Please.
I'm going to start here with the meaning of value. Let's talk about the meaning or what something is worth. Let's talk about Tom Brady and what he means to a mentality, to a team in terms of them building their culture to even get to this place right here. Because Tampa Bay, without Tom Brady, wouldn't be here right now. But Green Bay, they were just here last year with the same guys. So let's show you the value of Tom Brady, the impact of Tom Brady to this losing team last year that's now at the same level as Aaron Rodgers. One, you have to respect, and I know it's so difficult for you, me, everybody, the combine, to respect intangibles and immeasurables.
That's real.
Because they can't quantify them.
Yes, sir.
You only know them when you see them, and that's after you saw it. You don't see it. You don't have the anticipation, the foresight to see it coming just after the fact. But that's who Tom Brady is. Now, when you look at Tom Brady, one thing jumps out. 6 rings and 9 Super Bowl appearances. Obviously, everyone sees that. And then when you look at Aaron Rodgers, you don't go to the same place in terms of greatness when you're talking about ultimate team success. You go to 1 Super Bowl championship, correct? All right, so what does that do? When you're a player on that team, I've been here before. I played with great Hall of Fame players. Rest in peace, Junior Seau, Bruce Smith, Thurman Thomas, Andre Reed, LaDainian Tomlinson, Drew Brees, etc. They take you to a place in imagination because you're like, with them, we can do this. And once your imagination is peaked, guess what? Your motivation all of a sudden starts to turn. And you start to do more. You're almost willed to do more than you even anticipated or thought you could because of the presence of this one guy. But it's not just Tom Brady's presence that has changed everything at Tampa Bay. It's his performance as well. Let's talk about Tom Brady in this system with no continuity in year 1 versus Aaron Rodgers, who had continuity in year 2 in the same system. System preferences full screen, please. Look at the win-loss column. Basically the same. Completion percentage. Who in the world would say that Tom Brady outperformed Aaron Rodgers in the first year in the system like this? Passing yards per game. No way. Tom Brady again? Okay, here we go. Yards per attempt. What? Passing touchdowns, interception. You got to be kidding me. Passer rate. Oh, come on. I thought that, that Green Bay's Aaron Rodgers was the most skilled quarterback ever, most talented quarterback ever. But as you know, football is a great game of skill, but a greater game of will. And Tom Brady activates the will of all those around him. Look. Can I drop the mic on camera?
Let me get
Speed in.
Let me get this straight. So is your argument...
I don't have an argument. I'm talking to my dog.
Is your discussion point tonight that Tom Brady is thriving more in his year 1 than Aaron Rodgers is thriving in his year 1?
The fact that everyone else, and this is the greatest part about Tom Brady, seriously. If I had to say in one sentence, take me to another planet and say, who is Tom Brady? I wouldn't even talk about the Super Bowl rings. I would say Tom Brady gets more out of people even if they give less of themselves. Think about that. That's called buy-in. Tom Brady makes you compromise yourself. He says, either I need more, come on, or he says, calm down and just play complimentary football in this system. Either way it goes, it adds up to a greater success than even Aaron Rodgers.
I like that.
That's my point.
I like that. And a very good point. Here's the issue at hand.
Okay, let's go.
The issue at hand is that Tom Brady doesn't even need to show up sometimes for the Bucs to win.
I don't know.
And the problem is, I don't know if that's opinion as much as that's fact. Let me take you back.
Let's go.
I ain't got to take you back far. Let me take you back 3 days. How did the Saints lose that game? How did the Bucs win that game? The Bucs scored all of their points off of Saints turnovers.
Yeah, but you got to still score.
You got to get in the end zone.
Yeah, a lot of quarterbacks messed those opportunities
You
up.
got to get in the end zone, but you got 4 tries. 1 at the 3, 1 at the 20, one at the 40, and the other one you took a knee on. Yeah. So you got 2 within the red zone.
Okay.
1 in the high red zone, 1 in the lowest of low red zones. Okay. How did the Buccaneers beat the Packers? Aaron Rodgers gave them that game. Like Tom Brady.
Well, isn't that every game then? Every game comes down to give or take.
It does. It does.
Come on now, we're going to do that.
At the point in which your defense only gives up 10 points, at the point in which your defense only gives up 10 points, you don't have to do a lot. Like, as I look at it, say, Tom Brady just didn't have to do a lot in his biggest games. And here's what I will say, because people always say, well, you going to knock him for that?
You going to knock him? That's what I'm thinking.
not going to knock Tom Brady for that, but I'm not going to praise him for that either. I'm just going to sit idle and acknowledge this is what it is. I'm not going to knock Tom Brady for not having to do a ton of work when they beat the Packers. Absolutely not. I'm not going to knock Tom Brady for not having to do a ton of work when they beat the Saints. But what I am going to say is I'm going to delegate respect and responsibility to whom it belongs to. And to me, I look at it like this. The Buccaneers have a better defense. Tom Brady ain't got to do as much. Aaron Rodgers, he realizes each and every time, if I don't show up, we don't win. Remember that Saints game I brought in mind, week 3, the Packers win 37-30 in New Orleans. He did that without Devontae Adams. Aaron Rodgers' game is on the line. He gets a hard count, gets the Saints off sides, and that wins the game. If you look for wins and losses for the Packers, look no further than how Aaron Rodgers performs. On the contrast, you could look at Tom Brady's performance, assume they lost, but they could have won because of how good that defense is. All you got to do is look at Aaron Rodgers in the box score, and that will tell you if the Packers won or lost. That's why he's more valuable.
I like that because I want us to have a little tension up here, a little dissension up here. But it's an easy point to actually squash when you look at the fact that you want to go performance-based. You're saying you can take away Tom Brady, they're going to win still based on those performances. I think that's misleading because if you want to talk about what Green Bay is, everyone thinks is Aaron Rodgers, then you think of Aaron Jones, and you think of Devontae Adams, right? And you know they're all individually great. But at the top of that, in that pecking order, it's obviously Aaron Rodgers. But when you think of Tom Brady, we think of this arsenal, this team around him that is so tremendous offensively, especially, that Tom Brady's just being propped up, held up on their shoulders, correct? Not necessarily, right? Let's look at the offensive support Aaron Rodgers has versus the offensive support that Tom Brady has. Rodgers is one of only 2 quarterbacks in the entire NFL that had a top 5 rusher and a top 5 receiver. Wait a minute. Tom Brady didn't have that. Okay, so now we're going to start to say that if Aaron Rodgers isn't there, I don't know who's playing quarterback, but guess what? He has some weapons that not even Tom Brady has. Let's also talk about Tom Brady didn't even have a top 10 rusher or a top 15 receiver. Woo! So now you start looking at it like, what did the Bucs have? Oh, they had a 28th rushing attack in the league. If you want to talk about complimentary football, Tom Brady was pulling guys with him, even though we know those individual assets can play football. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, look, we ain't stupid. But at the same time, as a collective, Tom Brady was working with less in a system he was learning on the fly with no continuity and still went out there and did what Aaron Rodgers did, which is basically get to the same place right now, mano y mano. So I'm looking around and I know that Aaron Rodgers is tremendous. Actually, there's no wrong answer to this question, right? Give me who you don't want. I could go there. But I am going to go when I just know. Put it this way. Let's just go to another sport. Let's just go to another sport. Well, I could go track and field, but I'm going to go to basketball for once. You're on a team, and you're on this team, and you're like, all right, we're stuck at a hump. We're trying to get over that same hump. And then Michael Jordan walks in. I mean, forget, you don't even check if he got on his old man jeans. You don't care what Jordans he has on what number. You're just like, Michael Jordan just walked in, and he's on my team. You know what you start to do? Stuff you never did before, whatever that is. So in response to what you're saying, Aaron Rodgers takes me to this level. But when Tom Brady becomes my teammate, I go out of this world, out of this universe to another stratosphere.
I'm with you because the biggest thing and the biggest argument you have for Tom Brady is an argument in which we cannot quantify. That's the issue at hand. Well, you're saying Tom Brady makes everybody better.
And 6 rings.
And 6 rings.
His quantifying it is, I added all y'all up to 6 rings. What did you add up, Aaron Rodgers? 1? I've done that 6 times. Like, he's 6X of that.
But different teams.
Okay, true. But same effect. Oh, Tampa Bay before Tom Brady. You want to go here? Tom Brady's teams have gone to conference championships 14 of his 19 healthy seasons. 74%. What about Aaron Rodgers? 42%. Oh, damn, Aaron Rodgers. What's going on over there? Talk about the turnover impact, the difference between Jameis Winston and Tom Brady. You want to talk about scoring defense, how bad they were last year, how good they are this year. Like Tom Brady, without even putting his fingerprints on them, that's why he's the GOAT. He ain't even got to touch everything, but everything is going to be affected. It's crazy, man. Coming up at the top of the hour, Deshaun Watson's days in Houston might be numbered. I heard. We'll tell you what the Texans should do with their star quarterback. But first, Baker Mayfield got Cleveland in the playoffs, but we'll tell you if his Browns have a bright future. That's next. Speak for yourself. Yeah, deep.
What's up, Speak for Yourself listeners? It's your boy Shay Sharp, co-host of FS1's Undisputed. I wanted to tell you about my new podcast, Club Shay Shay, where we always do something before two something. Each week, I sit down with a guest for a drink and conversation, and as host and proprietor of Club Shay Shay, I've welcomed in esteemed guests such as Snoop Dogg, Floyd Money Mayweather, LeVar Ball, Isaiah Thomas, just to mention a few. Whether I'm talking to an athlete, a musician, an actor, or a lifelong friend, Club Shay Shay is a place where people share inspiring and motivational stories about their journeys to prominence. The new episode drops every Monday on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Subscribe to Club Shay Shay now and make sure you never miss a new episode. Now, back to Speak for Yourself.
Welcome back to Speak for Yourself. The Browns, my Browns, had their most successful season in 26 years. Before it was cut short by, the Chiefs. Baker Mayfield finished the season with the best touchdown-interception ratio in his 3 years in the NFL. And Kevin Stefanski said he was pleased with Baker's progress, then added that his team, quote, established our identity this season. I hear you, Kevin Stefanski. Shout out GM Andrew Berry. Shout out Baker Mayfield. You know when you get into the club and you just got to shout everybody out? That's what I'm doing right now.
You're acting your age right now. Get off the mic. Pass the drink. That's me, the old
I'm going to get off the mic. So, Marcellus, let me know. Are you convinced that the Browns' future is bright?
Oh, no. Can't trust it. Public enemy. No. Look, let me stop. I'm too hype on this because Baker Mayfield's in the building. When we talk Baker Mayfield, you and I, we activate like Wonder Twins. Form love and hate on Baker Mayfield. Here's the thing. I trust Kevin Stefanski's Cleveland Browns. I really do. His impact in year one, it's already documented, so I don't need to go down that path. But if Baker Mayfield is the driver, not shotgun, not riding in the backseat, not in the trunk where he's been sometimes as well, if Baker Mayfield is driving this same car down this road, I don't trust where it's going. And I'm going to tell you why. When you look at this, Kevin Stefanski actually told on himself. He gave me coaches speak. This is the first time I looked at Kevin Stefanski sideways. Now, remind you, Alex Van Pelt, my former teammate, is the offensive coordinator there, did a tremendous job. Baker Mayfield had his best year. And all of that still is not enough to convince me that he's a franchise quarterback and his team is heading in the right direction with Baker Mayfield driving. Okay. Kevin Stefanski comes out and says, quote, I think you saw growth from him as a player from the first game to the last. Now, you would take that on at face value, as you should. Like, yeah, we saw Baker Mayfield mature right before our very eyes, on and off the field.
Yes, sir.
But then, you know me, Acho, I'm a literalist. Like, I really listen to every word. I listen to everything you say. Boy, I'm mad at myself sometimes for listening to everything you say. But I took this quote and I started to digest it. And I said, self, that's a lie. I saw Baker Mayfield week one. I saw Baker Mayfield last week. That dude went through a roller coaster ride, and I don't even know if it landed higher than it started. Let's talk about this. I'm going to give you a full screen right now. And to tell you what this full screen is about, it's about Baker Mayfield, how he started this season according to Kevin Stefanski, and how he finished the season according to Kevin Stefanski better. Tell me if this tells you Baker Mayfield better. His first game was against the Baltimore Ravens. They got smacked, 38-6, right? Remember that? Now, with a game that starts at 53.8 completion percentage, you would think you could do no worse. Oh, but Baker Mayfield found a way. Not only once, but twice to play worse games than that by completion percentage. What? When the bar is that low, like the bar and the ground are married to each other, he still found a way twice to be worse than 53.8%. Okay, whatever. Let's move on to yards. Nobody gives a damn about yards, except maybe your team if you're trying to move up and down the field. Whatever. He starts off with 189 passing yards in week one. 5 other games, he was worse than that? Hold on. We're not saying he started off at a 400-yard passing game like Dak Prescott. We're talking about 189. You have 5 games worse than that? Okay, let's move on. Forget that. Passing touchdowns, 1. That's pretty low, too. I mean, the only thing lower is 0. Well, you have 4 games worse than that in terms of performance. Man, move, Marcellus. You're starting to hurt. Passer rating, 65, which is almost 30 points lower than league average. He started there. Stefanski makes me believe he never was as bad as that. Twice he was. And last but not least, turnovers. And this is the tricky one. Because I know Acho loves to come up here and talk about his touchdown-interception ratio. But Acho, turnovers aren't created equal. Guess what? There are interceptions and there are also fumbles. This dude stopped throwing interceptions and start fumbling the football. So Kevin Stefanski, stop lying to the people. This guy started off 9-3, ended up to finish the season 3-3, 500 player. And where he is right now, I don't know, but I would love to vacation with him because Kevin Stefanski, as much as I trust you, I can't trust every word and I can't trust your direction if Baker Mayfield is driving.
I like the take, Marcellus. You came out and you threw some great punches, and I respect
body
it.
blow,
body
blow.
I'm going to use your own words against you. You are so far in the forest, sir.
You can't see them trees.
That you cannot see the trees. So I don't necessarily care that much who a driver is when I'm on a road trip, as long as the GPS works.
GPS.
As long as the GPS works, I don't really care if it's my sibling that can't drive.
Oh, really?
Because all I need you to do is trust the GPS. So if you can drive, and if the driver's license is renewed, then I'm not tripping. Follow the GPS. Baker Mayfield, I trust you driving, particularly if Kevin Stefanski, your GPS system is working and calibrated. But beyond that, Marcellus Wiley, we have to talk about the other thing is, how can you not trust the Browns' future and the Browns' future being bright when this team is talented, but the only thing that exceeds their talent is the lack of age? Uh-oh, I'm going somewhere, sir.
Oh, they're young.
Yeah, they're young.
You trust young drivers? Insurance companies don't.
I trust young ascending talent, especially
well, you
in the
charge
NFL.
them as they ascend, too. We tax their ass.
Let's look at the Browns, bro.
Okay.
Look at the Browns star players, and y'all can bring it up as I talk about it.
Right.
Mack Wilson, the linebacker that hit Patrick Mahomes, knocked him out, 22. Denzel Ward, 23. Baker Mayfield, 25. Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, Myles Garrett, all 25. Then you got their 3 all-pro offensive linemen, Jack Conklin, 26. Teller, 26. Batonio, 29. Jarvis Landry, 28. This team is extremely young.
They are.
And they are extremely hungry. The only way you could not see the Cleveland Browns as having a bright future is if somehow, some way, you decide to put sunglasses on, or let me give you a better analogy.
Okay.
You know when you go to sleep, or you're trying to go to sleep, and at first it's extremely dark after you turn off the lights in your room. You can't see nothing. You can't see nothing. But you leave your eyes open for long enough, and your eyes begin to calibrate or adjust to the certain dimness that's in your room. The only way, Marcellus, that you can look at the Browns and say their future is not bright is if your eyes begin to adjust to just how bright this season was.
Oh, that's a beautiful
Because you
line.
might look at next season and the Browns go 9-7, disgusting travesty. Even if they still make the playoffs, because your eyes have now adjusted to just how bright these Cleveland Browns are. But there's no way that you can look at the Browns' youth in their roster, look at the talent plus the youth in their roster, look at the success under their first-year head coach in Kevin Stefanski, and say that their future is not bright.
Really? I'm not riding anywhere with you. Like you said yesterday, why drive when you can fly? Guess what? I'm not taking a road trip with no 16-year-old driver. Hell no, I don't care if you got your license, your driver training certificate. Get out my face, youngster, because you're not experienced enough. But I like your argument. You know me, I like to follow people's arguments and try and get them with their own words. Carson Wentz is young. How'd that turn out this year for a young quarterback that had tremendous success before? Better success than even Baker Mayfield. Oh. Jared Goff was young, still is young. How's that working out for Jared Goff right now? I could continue, but I think you get my point. As Big Rube from Dungeon Family said, let's look deeper than that. Are you an outcast? You'll find that reference later. Here's the thing. Let's look deeper and use Acho's words. Baker Mayfield's a top 10 quarterback with bottom 10 perception. I repeat, America. Baker Mayfield is a top 10 quarterback with bottom 10 perception. And then you look at him as his rankings show that he's not top 10 in anything. Completion percentage, nope. He's 30th. 24th in yards per game, 18th in yards, 17th in yards per attempt, 15th in passer rating, 12th in passing touchdowns, and he shares touchdowns at 10, so that means you're not really 10 by yourself. Okay, so Acho, I need you to understand that when I'm looking at you being my franchise quarterback, the first thing I need is consistency.
Okay.
I need your ability to be there, but you wouldn't even be in this conversation. You didn't have the ability. I am never going to slight Baker Mayfield like he can't play the game of football. The dude can play football, except He plays football like this, and then as soon as you start believing in him up there, he's going to play football like here. Then you start counting him out. Then he's going to go right back to here. He's a yo-yo. And, I'm tired of the yo-yoing by Baker Mayfield. Look at this inconsistency, big dog. You can see him go out there. And his best games of the year, followed by some of his most mediocre performances. Week 7, 22 of 28, 5 touchdown passes. And a win over the Bengals. What happened the next week? 12 of 25, 122, 62 passer rate, no touchdowns. Okay, whatever. Week 13, 25 of 33, 334. What happened week 14? Sub 60 completion percentage, interception, and a loss to the Ravens, 87 rating. Dog, I hate to do this to this dude because you keep asking me these same questions that give you the same exact answer, which is Baker Mayfield. Until you can show stability, consistency, you're not getting behind the wheel. Certainly, I'll let you even ride shotgun. You got talent around you, young talent, but you are not the driver.
But you have to understand, and we're not talking specifically about Baker Mayfield. We're saying, are Baker Mayfield's Browns?
Well, he's the quarterback.
Their future bright?
Yeah.
Yes, he's the quarterback, but
he has to grow.
Let's look at everything he's conducting.
Okay.
So, again, some things are opinionated, some things are factual.
Okay.
I think the issue at hand is you are adjusting your expectations based upon a certain criteria that teams are hitting. What's my point?
Yeah, go there.
You
say
said
it with your chest, dog.
Carson Wentz, what's going on with him and the Eagles? Let me remind you, Eagles had a 6-win season. Eagles had a 7-win season. Eagles go to the Super Bowl. Eagles have a 9-win season, a 9-win season, and then this year all hell is broken loose. Compare the 9-win seasons, the 2 of them after the Super Bowl, to the 6 and the 7-win seasons, the 2 of them before the Super Bowl. That's still a bright future, but your calibration and your eyes are saying, you know what, this isn't bright because they've gone to a Super Bowl. My point is this. Let's talk about other teams who have had new head coaches and they've gone from bad to great.
Okay.
Matt Nagy, Chicago Bears. They go 5-11. He shows up, they go 12-4. They've made the playoffs 2 out of the last 3 years. But let a Bears fan tell it, the Bears are terrible. No. Don't adjust your expectation to what you were because the Bears haven't lost more than 8 games since Matt Nagy showed up. But the 4 years prior to him showing up, lost 12 games, lost 11 games, lost 12 games, lost 10 games. So don't just calibrate your eyes.
So it's a relative to Cleveland conversation again.
It has to be a relative to future. The future can only be bright depending on your past now. The future your past dictates how bright your future is. Son. Think about this, Sal. Let's go there. Let's go there. If I was broke,
you were broke.
Then
you said you were broke till you were 5. Why are you lying to people? You told me this.
I'm saying, Marcellus,
you said you were broke.
if I was broke, then coming into money makes my future bright. If I only made $50,000 a year, then $100,000 a year salary is a bright future.
Yes,
but $100,000 to you is poverty right now. So the past, it dictates your future. You can't say that the Browns' future, if they win 9 games or 10 games, isn't bright.
Hey, keep my pockets out these streets.
It's on the internet.
I will say this. Let me stop sweating because I'm over here laughing and also hot that you don't understand where I'm coming from. And I'm saying this with no malice. I'm just trying to do my job and do it well. You can't be league average and call yourself a franchise quarterback. You just can't.
Don't do this, Sal. Don't do this.
Okay. You know what? You can be. You know why? Because if you play against yourself, you play Cleveland versus Cleveland every week, you can be league average all you want. Oh, but the problem is you're going to play against other quarterbacks that aren't league average. And what's going to happen to you? You're going to get rolled. Patrick Mahomes, who is Patrick Mahomes? I get it, y'all. Don't act like I don't see it. Went out there and beat Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield played a full game. He played half. Patrick Mahomes said, I will play half the game and still beat you. He put up 19 and dipped. And Baker Mayfield, against a backup, couldn't go past 17. You know what that tells me if I'm running a franchise? I like Baker Mayfield. I really like Baker Mayfield, but I'm not in love yet because we can't even beat a backup in the most meaningful moment. And their starter only gave them half a game, and it was still enough to beat us.
Let me say
Come
this.
on, big dog. It's a whole different animal.
I don't need you to love Baker Mayfield. I need you to respect him. And the problem right now is you're not respecting him, and as a result, you're not respecting the Browns. You say that Baker Mayfield, you talk about all these stats. How could he be franchise when he's average? Marcellus Wiley, 30 passing touchdowns and 10 or fewer interceptions. Let's just look at the quarterbacks. Let's just look at the quarterbacks that had 30-plus passing touchdowns with 10 or fewer picks. I said it yesterday, but now I'm going to show you. Aaron Rodgers, the man you just mentioned, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Deshaun Watson, Ryan Tannehill, Justin Herbert. That is the list, the complete list of quarterbacks with 30 passing touchdowns and 10 or fewer interceptions. All them dudes is franchise. Every one of them. Now, they're different levels of franchise.
Don't mean Baker is.
They're different levels.
And Baker doesn't have the same resume as those guys.
All them dudes is franchise. Baker had just as many wins. The only guys who had more than wins on this list, Rodgers, Mahomes, and Josh Allen.
You talking about this year, dog? Hold on. You think you got this job just because of what you did this year? Boy, stop. I would spill your beans right now because you know I've known you for years. Anyway, you built this thing up to get here, right? So now you're working with equity. Now you're working with momentum. Now the wind is at your back, brother. It's pushing you. But Baker Mayfield didn't have any wind. Last year was a sophomore slump, be real.
There was.
Okay,
absolutely.
So you come in with no wind. And then this year you come in and you look good. You look great. And you also look bad. Just be real about this. Here's the inconsistency once again when it mattered most. We saw Baker Mayfield in the wild card round, 3 touchdowns, 115 passer rating, and beat the Steelers, slammed the Steelers. See, I give him credit. But then what happened the next week in a half against the starter when you played the whole game? Oh, Baker, 204 yards, a pick, touchdown, and a 74 rating. Acho. 95 is the threshold of average. We didn't even say good or great. We said average. This dude goes out and they go to Cabo Cancun with a 74 rating. That's my point. And you know his record when you ask him to throw the ball. 35 or more pass attempts in the game. Baker Mayfield is 5-15. You trying to tell me we can't win shootouts? We can't win games when we need you to win the game? What can we win? It's just a big pot of inconsistency until he can poke his head outside of that pot and show me that he is Baker Mayfield and going to stand on the same ground. This wavering, this seesaw effect, I'm not for it.
Here's the issue. And I think the issue and the point in which you and I differ is you were looking at this graph and you're drawing a conclusion of Baker Mayfield of, you were inconsistent last year, but now you're up here peaking. You might be inconsistent again.
What inconsistencies this year, though? I'm pointing them out.
But everybody this year had inconsistencies. I just told you about Tom Brady. He just had inconsistencies. In the game in which they just won against the Saints, he had his 3rd worst completion percentage. So, even Tom Brady, the great Tom Brady, has bad games.
These lows, I'm going to continue, but
you can talk about lows, but eventually, Sal, we have to take a step back and look at the whole picture.
Yes.
Like, you're looking at things so closely that you're parsing out each and every letter, but can you look at the sentence? Because if the sentence makes sense, let's read the sentence in totality. Let's not just look at, I don't know if I like the design of that A. Oh, that H doesn't look great. Why do we put an I there? Why don't you just look at the sentence and critique the sentence as a sentence
You know
itself?
why? Because every word adds up to make a sentence. You take a word out of a sentence, guess what? It ain't a sentence. It sounds grammatically incorrect. That's the problem. So here's the thing. This is my last point. I'm not in love with Baker Mayfield. You know that. I don't hate him. I'm in like with him. You ever been in like? You ever have somebody give you that love letter? Yes, no, or maybe? Yeah, remember that one? Here's a maybe for me. I'm checking maybe for him, but not yes and not even no. But the point of it is the Browns, Cleveland Browns, Baker Mayfield's Browns, Kevin Stefanski Browns. Oh, the only team to make the playoffs this year, despite being outscored in the regular season, a negative point differential, and they're heading in the right direction. Boy, stop. You better check your sentences. Coming up, James Harden is off to an undefeated start in Brooklyn. Brooklyn's in the house, without a doubt. We'll tell you if the new look Nets have put the NBA on notice. That's next. Speak for yourself. Negative point differential? Oh, stop.
Hey, Speak for Yourself listeners. It's Charlotte Wilder here to tell you about my new podcast with Mark Titus called the People's Sports Podcast. It comes out every Thursday, and Mark and I take one of the big stories of the week, and then we go off on tangents you never saw coming. This might mean that we start talking about the Dodgers winning the World Series and end up wondering if Knicks fans deserve happiness. Or begin with LeBron's greatness and end up drafting our ultimate beer league softball team made up of old athletes. Whatever it is, the only rule of the show is that it has to be fun and funny, because these days we could all use as many laughs as we can get. So check it out wherever you get your podcasts and come down weird sports rabbit holes with us. We can't wait to have you. Now, back to Speak for Yourself.
Welcome back to Speak for Yourself. Let's head to the NBA, where the Nets beat the Bucks last night for their 4th straight win and 2nd in a row with James Harden. The former Rocket has already combined for 138 points with Kevin Durant since their reunion. Brooklyn has been on fire despite missing Kyrie Irving for the 7th straight game. KD said after the win, quote, "We still got room to improve, but it's a solid start." Gotta bring in Fox NBA analyst Slick Rick the Bucher. But Acho, have the new look Nets put the NBA on notice?
No, they have not. And the new look Nets haven't put the NBA on notice because we haven't seen the new look Nets just yet. Marcellus Wiley, I came on this show, and the very first thing you did, I'm so appreciative. You said, Acho, you look good today. Because based on this outfit, you said I look good. But still, if I started to add pieces to the fit, and came up here like this, I'm not convinced that you would still think this outfit looked good. Because that one extra addition all of a sudden detracted from what originally looked good. So I'm not going to sit here and say that the Nets with James Harden and Kevin Durant look good, because that's not the new look Nets. The new look Nets are still missing a piece, and I've told y'all about addition by subtraction. If there can be subtraction, if there can be addition by subtraction, there can be subtraction by addition. I am waiting to cast judgment on the new look Nets until the outfit is complete.
Oh, man.
Thank you, Acho. No, they didn't put anybody on notice other than what we expected, which is, can James Harden and Kevin Durant score the ball, and do they have chemistry from this being their second time around? Absolutely. But I had a feeling that Acho was going to go this direction and that Wiley might not go the same direction.
You think?
And this is what I appreciate, that Marcellus might be the nerd, but Acho,
I love being
his methodology is that he thinks and speaks methodically. And so I decided that I would bring the stats for our nerd. Did you guys, either one of you, look up the number of dribbles? There's a stat where they rank players based on the number of shots they take after 0 dribbles, 1 dribble, all the way up to 7+ dribbles. Do you know who's third on that list? That would be James Harden.
Duh.
Do you know who's fourth on the list? That would be Kyrie Irving. So to Acho's point, have they looked good with Harden and Durant? Absolutely. It's what we would have expected. Whether this is going to work for the Nets depends on Kyrie and James Harden working together. And we've got 2 ball-dominant guys, and we haven't seen them on the floor yet. So until we do, I can't pass judgment on whether this Nets experiment is actually going to work.
Oh, interesting. Well, I think the NBA is on notice, and yes, I am a nerd and very proud of it. Look, book it right now, Clippers and Nets in the finals, if not Lakers and Nets. And it hurts me to say that, but I got to be real and do my job, even the nerd I am. Let's be real about what's happening right now, because they're 2-0 since they got back together on a 4-game winning streak. They are terrorizing opponents. Simply stated, first teammates ever to score 30 or more points in the first 2 games together. Because that is a fact, and the fact of the matter is the East is wide open. The East is for the taking. Y'all don't understand what my perspective is based off of. The relative experience, the competition level. Let's look at the Sixers. Let's look at the Nets, and let's look at the Bucks, who they beat last night. Those are the only 3 teams in the East with 9 wins. Okay. I mean, we know Miami's going to be there. We could go out there and say some other teams as well, Boston. But the teams at the top right now, Sixers, Bucks, and Nets. They just took care of the Bucks without Kyrie Irving, y'all. Without the wool cap, whatever the hell that was Acho put on. And y'all trying to tell me Kyrie Irving's game is a wool cap? Boy, stop. It's much fresher than that. Silky, if you really want to go there. So here's the thing. With your imagination, you could go a lot of places. Selective perception. You can either love something that you don't know just yet, you can hate something you don't know just yet, or you can use what you guys are employing right now. Apathy. I don't know. I don't care. We'll see. Oh, that's fine. But here's the thing. Being ambivalent to this situation is not going to help you, because you're going to have to make a decision, just like the opponents already in 2 games had to make a decision. I give you 2 examples. Giannis yesterday, after the loss, he's like, yo, this is what they do. As I quote, they wake up, they come to the game, score 30. You don't lock them down, they could score 50. Oh, what about the last possession for this same Nets team that right now is still undermanned? They kick it out to Harden. He misses it. Harden gets the rebound. Kevin Durant gets the ball. Bucket. game over. This is just the beginning. This is just the building. This is just a stepping stone to what's going to be great and putting everyone on notice. If you don't want to listen, you don't want to look, be my guest. But here's the problem. You're going to be late to this party.
Here's what the real problem, and I think the problem that you're ignoring is this. Marcellus, where are Kyrie's shots going to come from? Yesterday, James Harden took 25 shots. Yesterday, Kevin Durant, beating the Bucks, took 21 shots. 6 other players played in that game.
In the morning.
5 of the other players combined to take 26 shots. So if James Harden took 25 and 5 players combined took 26, Sel, where Kyrie's shots going to come from?
I got you.
I have one guess. They might come from Jeff Green. They might come from Joe Harris. But, oh, wait. Those 2 players combined to go 9 for 12 from the three-point line. Kyrie ain't going 9 for 12 from the three-point line. So, again, I ask you, it can be rhetorical. You can ponder it as you're trying to figure out your other life goals and ambitions. Where are Kyrie's shots going to come from? Because if they come from Harden, that don't help the team. If they come from KD, that definitely don't help the team. It also appears if they come from Jeff Green and Joe Harris, that's not helping the team. So again, just because you get Kyrie on the court, who is a walking bucket, that can be an issue because you already got buckets.
I'm going to go right past the fact that we also don't know how much of Kyrie Irving we're going to get. He just missed 2 weeks, and we don't know exactly why or what, which leaves us with wondering, is he going to be gone again? How long is he going to be gone? But again, because Marcellus is the nerd, I will stay with the statistical argument because Acho pretty much nailed everything else.
Yeah, right.
Let's go away from the 3 and let's go away from the shots because offensively, yeah, even look, they all want to make it work. And I have doubts that Kyrie Irving wants to be the third wheel, but let's say they make that work. There's the other end of the floor.
Yeah.
And right now, the Brooklyn Nets defensively are bottom half of the league defensively. Rebounding, bottom half of the league when it comes to rebounding. And as you guys know, we like, even with football, we love to talk about the skill positions and the quarterback and the wide receivers and the running backs. But the difference between winning a few big games and winning them all is in the trenches with the lines. And that equates to the defensive end of the floor for NBA teams. So, yes, are they going to be dynamic offensively? I expected that with Kyrie and KD alone. Are they going to be able to get it done defensively when they traded some of their best defensive players in order to get Harden? That is the part of this equation that I have yet to see and have my doubts that we will.
Oh, Slick Rick, man. All those books up there. And if, like my teacher used to do, when you grab a book, start opening it, see where them pages stick. Oh, none of those books pages stick because it doesn't look like you're reading much. You know why? Defense matters? Defense?
Yes,
you went to the
matters.
Oh, really? Okay, so how in the hell did the Lakers win the championship when they allowed the most points per game, highest opponent field goal percentage, and highest opponent's three-point percentage in the last 20 years? Oh, defense matters.
Are you bubble? Are you bringing up bubble?
Hey, go with me with the asterisk. Now you going where I want to go. Hey, we can say it doesn't count, then we can have a whole different show. But the point is, you can now, don't undermine what the championship looked like. Don't undermine the experience now just because you got to win this point about defense. Let's talk about,
Bubble?
I'm out the bubble now. My big old ass got out the bubble. Now I'm going on offense right here. More importantly, not just what James Harden and Kevin Durant are in terms of buckets, but what it's doing to the defense that they're playing against. Did y'all hear Drew Holiday talk yesterday? See, I do this, man. I really do this. This is a passion of mine. Watching Drew Holiday talk about this team, he said, yeah, trying to defend those 2 Nets, 2, not even 3. He said 2 Nets players. Give the role players too much room. Joe Harris, we just talked about, knocked down 5 3-pointers and finished with 20 points. Here's the thing, what y'all are not imagining, because I am an eternal optimist, and you guys are pathetic pessimists. Here's the thing, that role player that Drew Holiday's talking about will now be Kyrie Irving. Who's guarding him will be a role player. Oh, my goodness. What is this going to look like when those 2 out there combine forces and activate now with Kyrie Irving?
I'll tell you what it'll look like. It'll look like a lot smaller than yesterday when they lost the rebounding battle and gave up 55 to Milwaukee. And you still haven't said anything about defense.
I don't care about defense.
How is Kyrie Irving and James Harden going to be able to defend on the perimeter?
It didn't hurt the
You
Lakers.
just told me that their offense was going to be better. I get that.
Didn't hurt the Lakers.
But where does that improve the defense?
Yeah, it's slick. Marcellus is ignoring the one pivotal point that will completely undermine his point.
The champs had a bad defense.
It's been since 2001 and 2002 season that an NBA Finals team that wasn't top 10 in defensive rating won the Finals. Sal, it's been 20 years. To win a chip, you have to be top 10 in defensive rating. And I don't know what you looked up, but the Lakers were third last year. So sure,
I'm
the
talking
teams
about
have some
champions.
threes in the bubble. Yes,
About
maybe. But Sal, if you want to win it all, you better learn how to play some defense. You acting out like Kyrie is. Coming up, Houston doesn't have James Harden anymore, but they still haven't upset Deshaun Watson. We'll tell you what the Texans should do about Deshaun next.
I compare champs. I compare champs against champs. You're watching Speak for Yourself. I'm Marcellus Wiley. He is Emmanuel Acho. Oh, you ain't gonna put the Kyrie Irving back on? All right, let's head to Houston, where many people believe Deshaun Watson has played his last snap as a Texan, according to Adam Schefter. This follows the news that Watson was furious over the Texans hiring GM Nick Caserio without consulting him. Now reports say he is not returning the team's phone calls and could hold out if he does not get traded. Another report says Houston has had internal conversations about possible trade partners. So, Acho, what should the Texans do about Deshaun Watson?
Big dog, they don't have a choice. The Texans are held hostage. They should do what Deshaun Watson wants them to do.
Really?
Marcellus, you know how hard it is to find a top 5 quarterback in the NFL, obviously. We all know how hard it is to find a top 5 quarterback. And Deshaun Watson has consistently proved that he is top 5. His first year in the league, he was playing at an MVP caliber level, tears his ACL. Will Deshaun Watson be back? That was the question. Then this year, he plays at another top 5 quarterback level, but the Texans, because their infrastructure is terrible, they win no games. So, unfortunately, it is very counterintuitive to society, but these very rich, older gentlemen and women running this team are going to have to defer to the longings of this 25-year-old kid in their eyes. But the fact of the matter is, you better do what Deshaun Watson wants you to do, because if you lose Deshaun Watson, then you just about lose everything as far as imminent success. Much easier to find a head coach that you can choose from than it is to find a quarterback that you can't choose from. So unfortunately, Texans, your hands are tied. What Deshaun Watson wants you to do, it's probably in your best interest that you do that.
Interesting. We're going to have a conversation here, my dog.
Please, preferably.
Glad it's not on MLK Day. Good Lord. I would want to be more peaceful than this may go. Here's my answer to this question. Get rid of the problem. And if that includes him, then it does. Let me tell you why. Deshaun Watson's been all over the place with this one. One place he shouldn't have been is on Twitter. Cryptic messages or just indirect messages, whatever it is, fanning the flames. You're a franchise quarterback, Deshaun Watson.
He told people don't protest.
Well, that's after 2 to 10 and all these other ones. I don't even stay on Twitter like that to know, but I do know. Come on, man. You're a franchise quarterback. You got to act like a franchise quarterback in all situations. We know on the field, when a receiver drops your pass, you can't go, You know who does that? Quarterbacks trying to make a name for themselves. When you are a made man like Deshaun Watson, you know what they got to do? Tom Brady does it every time. Aaron Rodgers does it every time. They go, because they know they're going to be on the other end of the stick one time very soon. Here's the thing. Context matters. And in this situation, I'm going to tell you what ownership is thinking. This is one thing I've learned in my age, in my experiences, that the other side of the table needs to be understood before you start throwing your blows. Know who you're fighting against.
Yes, sir.
Okay, styles make fights, okay? Know who you're fighting against. Know who Cal McNair is and know what Cal McNair stands for in this conversation. And be as specific as possible. Let's not generalize. Let's talk about Cal McNair in this situation. Deshaun Watson is a top 5 quarterback, no doubt. Okay, respect. But you know that all the top 7 quarterbacks made it to the postseason except one? Him. Okay, so you know what they're saying? Interesting. Deshaun Watson, I asked of you, your 29 wins in 4 years and your 2 playoff appearances, what is the drastic difference between you and the 29 wins we had the 4 years before you?
Don't do this, Marcellus
and the
Wiley.
2 playoff appearances.
Don't do this, Marcellus Wiley. It's been a peaceful show.
No, hey, you can argue with numbers all you want. They're going to stay the same. You may change. Here's the thing. The question of What Deshaun Watson has done for the Texans is the answer to what the Texans should do for Deshaun Watson, outside of pay him $160 million for him not to take his top 5 self and his team to the playoffs. So here's the thing. This is going to get real gangster. And this could still end in a win-win situation. Here's how it's a win-win. Deshaun, we have embarrassed you. We have upset you. We have irritated you. Whatever you are in your feelings, but you are there. Fine. We don't have a first-round pick. We don't have a second-round pick. We don't have a lot of picks. We could get a lot of picks for you, Deshaun Watson, if you don't want to come to the table and be amicable about this situation. So my last situation that I point to is look at this. When you look at Deshaun Watson being in this conversation, putting himself in this position, why would you sign for $160 million when Bill O'Brien's your GM? And everybody knows Bill O'Brien was set tripping at the GM position. Not as bad as a coach as he was as a GM. Okay. Why would you sign for $160 million months later after they already shipped your number 1 receiver? You signed up for these issues, and now you got an issue with the same issues you signed up for. Well, Deshaun Watson, I would love to hear your counter to what the other side of the table was talking about. We got to bring in Fox NFL analyst Bucky Brooks. So, Bucky, what should the Texans do about Deshaun Watson?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. They should sit there and let him continue to talk about it. Let everyone on social media talk about this is the first step in a player empowerment movement, and he has all the leverage and all those things. It's inaccurate. It's not true. Quietly, when they did they kind of made a provision in the 2020 CBA, they made it very punitive to hold out. And so when Deshaun Watson signed his contract and he got $27 million as part of a signing bonus, as part of a 4-year, $160 million extension, he signed up to be the franchise quarterback of the Houston Texans. Now, he was really smart and ahead of the game when he put in a no-trade clause, but he is not going to be traded because they have all the leverage here, the Houston Texans, because they paid him. He agreed to the deal. Now, he can kick up dust and make a stink and do all these things in public, but when it comes time to play and report to training camp, he has to report to training camp. But the fines are so hefty that he can't avoid it. And so when people talk about him withholding his services, he can't withhold his services unless he's willing to walk away from significant money. And we all know when it begins to hit you in your pocket, that is when things happen. And so they can put up with all of the outside noise and all of the speculation and the fantasy football trade speculation that we will make on sports talk, TV, and radio. But at the end of the day, he has to report, he has to come and get his money, and he's going to get it. So the Texans can listen, they can try and meet him halfway, they can offer him an olive branch and really improve the communication that has been lacking. But he's not going anywhere. The Houston Texans have a franchise quarterback, and he is going to stay in Houston.
Here's what I'll say. I'm going to say 2 things. First, I'm going to agree with you, Bucky, and Marcellus to a point and say, why does everything always got to be a power struggle?
Man.
Like, we're turning this into a fight when there's a very simple resolution. Communication. What they say, nobody wins when the family feuds. Texans, y'all aren't going to win, and Deshaun, he might not necessarily win because y'all are feuding. We don't have to make this into a struggle. Let's just talk about it. Now, Bucky, I got to push back on you. I'm going to say 2 names, and y'all can try to draw the conclusion and find the through line. Remember when Earl Thomas didn't necessarily want to play for the Seahawks? He didn't just not show up. He just showed up and had some injuries. Remember when Jalen Ramsey wanted out of Jacksonville? He didn't just not practice. He just happened to have a back spasm here, a messed up foot there, personal issues here. So technically, y'all can't find me because I'm hurt. Now, I'm going to let y'all find the through line and the point of connectivity between Earl Thomas, Jalen Ramsey,
what
and
up,
Deshaun
dog?
Watson.
My dog.
But all I'm saying is this.
Wow.
Don't think that players are not smart enough to find the loopholes in, well, Deshaun Watson, we're going to find you if you don't practice. Well, man, I'm hurt, so I don't know what you want me to do. I messed up my thumb earlier today. I messed up my pinky yesterday, so I'm hurt. I'm not choosing not to practice. I'm injured, coach. I don't know what you want me to do. You can't find me for being hurt. Players are smarter than they ever have been. Agents are smarter than they ever have been. Don't question Deshaun Watson, because what Deshaun Watson wants, more than likely, Deshaun Watson is going to get. Like Jalen Ramsey got what he wanted, and at the time, Earl Thomas, who was the highest paid safety when he left Seattle, got what he wanted.
The difference is Deshaun Watson, those guys were seeking to get their money.
Boom.
He already has his money.
Ta-da.
And if you're Houston can just sit and wait. And if he wants to play the injury game and all those other things, like, that's cool. But if you're the Houston Texans, like, we understand that this is a long play, not a short play. Because if you're Nick Casario, what you're doing is you're trying to reestablish the culture in Houston. You cannot let the players have all of the say when it comes to how the organization is going to be run. Now, I understand the franchise quarterback is different than any other player on the thing, and it is a cooperation. So we need to mend the fences from a communication and trust standpoint. But I'm not letting Deshaun Watson walk out of the building. And so if he's injured and hurt, that's cool. But how long is he going to play that game? Is he willing to play the hurt game for an entire season and withhold his services through an injury? Well, let's see if that really plays out. Because at some point, he has to come and he has to play. And if I'm the Texans, I'm willing to play this out.
Yeah, man. Deshaun Watson, such high character, such high performance. Does he really want to compromise and undermine that character right now to go through this process? And what is this process? You're fighting ownership for the same power that you want to possess. What sense does that make, guys? Like, Deshaun Watson literally is such a good guy, he doesn't want to be a bad guy and really come out there and profess what he really wants. So he's going to all these other measures and antics and Twitter to do it, which is funny because, Acho, you're a Bible man. You're a man of the church.
Talk to me.
Your daddy's a deacon. Be hot or cold, not lukewarm. I shall spit you out my mouth.
2 verses.
Because I only read 2 verses. The rest was heathenified in my life. I know the Bible almost backwards, but only 2 apply to sports. If I'm the ownership, if I'm Cal McNair, see, that's how gangsta I am.
Talk to me.
That's how gangsta I am. Before you walk into a room, at least anticipate, not guess, anticipate what the other side's going to say. You got to understand that Cal McNair is like, man, I gave you all this money. I gave you all this opportunity. You're beloved. Don't think you're the only one that this city loves, J.J. Watt. Don't think you're the only one that has high character on this team. J.J. Watt, 37 million, Hurricane Harvey. Like, don't think you're the only one. But it's all good because you're our franchise quarterback. But be careful, big dog, because your 2 playoff appearances and your 29 wins is the same I got out of Brock Osweiler. Same I got out of Brian Hoyer. Like Fitzpatrick and Matt Schaub, who was a good player. The point is, hey, man, this could go any way you want it to go. But I'm going to just say this. And this is just me living through my experiences, trying to see this situation from what I've been through before. It's classic high on the horse mentality. It's simple. You didn't sign this deal and didn't expect that there were going to be issues. You knew you had something going on upstairs that was a problem in Bill O'Brien. You knew that you didn't have a number 1 wide receiver. And I'm really trying to say, is he really going to lose his mind and lose his opportunity and lose his job with the Houston Texans over Nick Casario? Like Nick Casario doesn't have that bad of a resume for you to be like, oh, I can't do it. Or is it really over Eric Bieniemy? Whatever is over, Acho, I need Deshaun to just say it with his chest. Don't be lukewarm, brother. If you want to say it, you the franchise quarterback. Spit.
Here's the issue, and here's the final conclusion point I see, and I think Deshaun Watson sees. Deshaun Watson saw Arian Foster spend the majority of his career with the Texans never make it past the divisional round of the playoffs. He saw Andre Johnson, 7-time Pro Bowler, spend the majority of his career with the Texans never make it past divisional round of the playoffs. He saw J.J. Watt, a 5-time Pro Bowler, a 3-time Defensive Player of the Year, spend his career with the Texans and never make it past the divisional round of the playoffs. And he saw his boy DeAndre Hopkins, 5-time Pro Bowler, spend the majority of his early career with the Texans and never make it past the divisional round of the playoffs. Deshaun Watson is trying to calculate life's most complicated equation. What's the cost of happiness? What's the cost of legacy? What's the cost of success? Either way, Deshaun Watson is willing to pay the price. Coming up, Tom Brady is still in the playoffs. Bill Belichick, not so much. We'll tell you if Brady has already won the divorce from his former coach. That's next. Speak for yourself. Welcome back to Speak for Yourself. Tom Brady and Bill Belichick have the most wins ever for a quarterback and coach combo, but the levels of success have gone in opposite directions since they parted ways. Brady is on his way to his 14th championship game in his first year in Tampa, while Belichick finished his worst record as Patriots head coach since his first year with the team 21 seasons ago. Our guy Bucky Brooks is back with us, but Marcellus, has Tom Brady already won the divorce from Bill Belichick?
No. And rarely do I get agitated about just a question, because it's just a question, just some words connected to each other. Why should I get so mad? I get so upset when I hear people, because you know how we all roll. In our personal lives, everyone comes to us like, oh, man, they are our sports animal. Like, everything that happens sports, I'm going to text Bucky. Man, what do you think of this game? And cats be hitting me like, see? Brady proved that Belichick wasn't the guy. And I'm like, what the hell? My best example is me being an Angelino, a Los Angeles native, and living through the Kobe-Shaq divorce is my best example of this one. One, we have to respect in this race, Belichick and Brady, they're running two different races. Belichick is running a marathon. Brady is sprinting because he knows he's 43 and how long can you play? Looks like he could play forever, but he won't. Meanwhile, when you talk about coaching, you can coach almost forever, closer than you can as a player. So the Kobe-Shaq breakup comes to mind because when they divorced, everyone was sitting there like, oh, man, Kobe has 3 rings, Shaq has 3 rings. But Shaq has 3 finals MVPs, slight ass to Shaq, but we're going to see. And then Shaq goes out there freestyling on Kobe's head all the time and wins that championship with Dwayne Wade. And everyone and everywhere you went, oh, I knew it was always about Shaq and it wasn't about Kobe. But they were running the same race. And Kobe was running that race just a little bit longer, to the point where he ends up passing Shaquille O'Neal in terms of ultimate success. My point is this. Will y'all let this race just go? Let this race just continue? Let's check this out at the finish line. Because Belichick could look at Tom Brady and him sprinting. But guess what? Belichick like, I'm running a marathon. Go ahead and take the early lead. It all depends on who wins and who's there at the finish line.
So I got to push back. I don't want to, but I have to.
Go ahead.
They're actually running the exact same race.
Huh?
Why? Because Bill Belichick is the oldest coach to have ever won a Super Bowl. Yep. So he's already defying age odds himself. Tom Brady is the oldest player now to have gone this far at the quarterback position. So they're both in foreign and uncharted waters and uncharted territory. We've never seen a coach older than Bill Belichick win a Super Bowl. We've never seen a quarterback older than Tom Brady win a Super Bowl. So we don't know the ends of either of their races. So for that reason, they're in the same race. Now, I'll tell you this. If Tom Brady wins a Super Bowl this year, there is nothing Bill Belichick can do to say that he'd won the divorce, because Tom Brady would have won it. It's over. It's done with. Shaq? The most impressive thing that Tom Brady and Bill Belichick did together, you say 2007. They went 18-0 and they lost the Super Bowl. That was a 30-year-old Tom Brady, the 30-year-old Randy Moss, some have argued the best receiver the NFL's ever seen, playing with the best quarterback the game has ever seen, and they got to the Super Bowl and lost. Now, with Tom Brady in his first year in a new city, with a new head coach, with no offseason, at 43 years of age, on a new team, goes to the Super Bowl and wins it, it's a done deal, bro. Ain't no way Bill Belichick coming back from that. The last point I'm going to leave you with is a fact, it's not an opinion. This year, the worst year Bill Belichick has had as far as not making the playoffs since 2008. Oh, yeah, that season that Tom Brady didn't play in. And it's the worst year Bill Belichick has had since 2000. Oh, yeah, that season before Tom Brady got there. So Bill Belichick with the Patriots has not accomplished anything without Tom Brady of substance. He hasn't accomplished anything. Tom Brady without Bill Belichick looks to be accomplishing just as much.
No. It's too soon. It's too soon to even know who's won. Like, so what is it? I mean, this is like a sprint. So Tom Brady's in the championship game.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let's give him a blue ribbon. But it ain't the medal. You don't win the medal because of that. Like, we don't know. He's in the finals, but he hasn't won it. And also understand this. This is not the same New England team. I think the thing that is frustrating when we hear about this debate is as if Tom Brady would have went back to the same Patriots team. The Patriots weren't the same because of all the opt-outs. It wasn't the same number one defense that carried him last year when he was playing with the Patriots. It's not the same outstanding wide receiver that he had in Julian Edelman, who didn't really play this year. It's not the same. And so what we're trying to do is make an argument based on 2019 that it's just not the same. And so I don't understand why we're trying to compare what Tom Brady's doing to Tampa with what Bill Belichick is trying to do when he admitted this was a rebuild. He was trying to clean up for all the messes to sell out when they had Tom Brady and they won those Super Bowls. And so this is one that is too soon to tell. And we don't even know if this is a one and done deal because we saw how Father Time catches up with everybody. It caught up with Drew Brees, Tom Brady's net. How long are they going to play this out in Tampa?
Here's my thing, Bucky Brooks. First off, how convenient is it to say that, oh, yeah, this is a rebuild after your team is terrible? It's just very convenient.
Well, we knew it going in.
It's very convenient.
We knew it going in if you paid attention.
I'm just saying.
Everybody opted out, and whoever opted in was sorry.
Let me say this. Your record dictates a rebuild. Your record dictates a reload.
Don't do that.
Yes.
Nah.
If the Patriots would have gone 13-3 this year, would it have been a rebuild? No. It would have been a
you would
rebuild.
be like, wow, they did this while rebuilding?
No, because
you never heard
Tom
that?
Brady had the same amount of success on a Patriots team that was bad offensively. So I'm not going to qualify it as a rebuild just because Bill Belichick told us. It's a rebuild because they were sorry. That's what made it a rebuild. Had Tom Brady still been there, it wouldn't have been a rebuild because they wouldn't have been sorry. Tom Brady knows not how to be sorry. Tom Brady knows how to be successful. Bill Belichick, it is apparent that his teams know how to be sorry. That's all I'm saying. Bucky, yes, it's a new Patriots team, but every Super Bowl team the Patriots had with Tom Brady were new teams. Two dynasties separated by 8 or 9 years, rather, of not winning a Super Bowl. Different teams. This Buccaneers team, it's a different team. The only same factor is Tom Brady. So it's not too soon to judge.
Oh, my God.
How many guys on the Patriots would start on this Tampa Bay Buccaneers team?
Thank you.
How many?
He doesn't want to.
None.
He doesn't want to go there.
Nobody.
He doesn't want to go there.
Nobody. Who would have started on this Patriots team? There's no one on offense.
Half the Patriots. Okay, you said offense. Okay, you said offense.
There's no one on offense that would start. But even on defense, who is the star player that I'm missing off the Patriots? Maybe Devin McCourty? Who else would have started on
Gilmore? We just not going to talk about Stephon Gilmore?
Oh, you got Wi-Fi problems? You heard that, Stephon Gilmore. Go ahead, look, I keep it objective.
Okay, so we're talking about two players out of
2 or 3
22.
dudes. I know how it goes. I'm with you, Bucky.
2 dudes. That's it? That's all we got?
Yeah, it's
Come
crazy.
on, man. Tom Brady couldn't have made miracles with this team. They would have been just as sorry with this team.
Y'all
See, here's the thing. First of all, Acho wants to do a hot take. Let Acho do his hot take.
There's nothing hot about this take.
It's a logical fallacy. There's nothing to stand on. First of all, when you leave a team, you're not the only one that leaves. Guess what? A team doesn't go by itself. It's like you take pieces out. You took Tom Brady out and didn't want to say Patriots. Other people opted out. Other people retired. Other people weren't there. And then you look at Bill Belichick. Did you say Bill Belichick was the oldest coach? Because he's not.
When he won the Super Bowl.
Oh, okay, when he won the Super Bowl. I was about to say, because Pete Carroll's older than him. And I played with Marv Levy, who was 72. And Marv Levy said he could have kept going too. But guess what? And we felt the same way. He was just like, tired, boss. I'm trying to enjoy life. Point is, I don't know how long Bill Belichick wants to coach. But if you want to say, what are the odds? Can a coach out-coach a player in terms of length and in terms of duration? Absolutely, you can coach longer than you can play. We know that. But you're going to go back to George Blanda and say, oh, Tom Brady can play that long? I don't know how long Tom Brady's going to play. But I do know this. To say that a divorce is won because of the first date you saw him on after the divorce is ignorant. But go ahead. You can say it. But Bill Belichick going to get the last laugh, just like Kobe did on Shaq.
Fellas, here's the issue at hand. You can't say, Marcellus, that a coach can outcoach the length of a player. Not when the coach is 69 years old and the player is 43, and they both old. And we sit and watch
yes,
them.
you can. Yes, you can, because the premise is, can you coach longer than you can play? Has there ever been a 50-year-old player?
Has there ever been an 80-year-old coach?
Who needs to go to 80? He's only 69. That's a whole decade.
To get to 50 is the same thing as to get to 76.
No,
to get to 50,
that bad math is coming out again.
Tom Brady 43.
Tom Brady
43 plus 7. 69 plus 7. To get to 50.
69 plus 7 is not 80.
69 plus 7 is 76.
Thank you. So why are you going to 80?
Because to get to 50 is the same thing as to get to 76.
Even though,
has
there ever been a coach that has gone past 70? Yes. I played for one. And guess what? We don't know how long Tom Brady's going to go, but let's just go and keep it even. Does a player play longer than a coach coaches? No, I don't want to win an argument. I'm just saying he's going to have more runway. Even if he gets mad, if he sees this take, he's going to say, I'm going to coach till I pass this fool. Just because he can.
Absolutely.
I respect that.
There's a difference between quantity and quality. Bill Belichick can coach in a wheelchair with a rocker for all we're talking about. But that won't help the argument of did he win the divorce? Did Bill Belichick win Super Bowls? But the other thing I can't let y'all slide.
Has Tom Brady won Super Bowl yet?
When Tom Brady left the Patriots, and y'all saying it's a different team, it's a different team.
Well,
I get that. But Bill Belichick had his worst season this year without Tom Brady, since his worst season in 2000 without Tom Brady, since his last season not making the playoffs in 08 without Tom Brady. That's all that needs to be said. When Bill Belichick don't have Tom Brady,
I can't believe he really thinks this is a point.
Struggles.
I can't believe you really think this is a point.
When Tom Brady showed up
this is
in
crazy.
Tampa,
You're
Tom
getting
Brady
hyped
won.
up over cotton candy. All right, calm down. Like, nobody eating that for a real meal. This ain't a real meal conversation, bro.
Hey, that's not that. Because he went to a Tampa Bay squad that was absolutely loaded. It has everybody that you absolutely can have on offense. If we were playing a video game, if this was Madden 20, anybody can pick up the sticks and play with it. Is that what we're doing?
Who did Tampa add from last year? Rob Gronkowski, who ain't done jack squat this year.
Oh,
Antonio
my God.
Brown.
Gronk haven't done jack? Uh-oh, you forgot this
what are
middle
we
of the
talking
season.
about?
What you
Tristan
talking about?
Wirfs? Like, what are we talking
You
about?
don't act like Rob Gronkowski was more lethal than O.J. Howard was last year? Let's not get you the analyst now. Let's not get in the analytics.
Is O.J. Howard going to get a gold jacket?
Does he block? Did he even block? You don't even respect
Tony
blocking.
Gonzalez is going to get a gold jacket, but I don't know how good he would be right now. Like, what are we talking about? Rob Gronkowski is not...
O.J. Howard? So that is your argument? Oh, O.J. Howard's coming back? So that's... Man, come on.
You said...
They added...
You said, let's look at Tampa Bay's roster this year and Tampa Bay's roster last year. Look at the offensive roster.
What they have right now. Look at what they have. The roster is absolutely loaded. That's why we were bullish on them.
Who got the roster loaded, Bucky Brooks? Did AB come to play with Jameis? No.
Look, you're saying about this. So you're saying,
Bucky, they say don't argue with
Tom Brady didn't show up by himself. He showed up with gifts. He showed with AB and Rob Gronkowski.
Like, hey, all I know is I'm not going to get caught up in no YouTube clip with Acho arguing this one. But O.J. Howard last year had 1 touchdown. Gronk had 7 in regression. But he going to act like they the same dudes. What?
O.J. Howard.
Gronk had a catch last game.
And guess what? All his top 4 receivers had a combined, 70 yards, 1 touchdown? His top 4 receivers. None of them dudes played well last week. And that's their whole entire career resume. I got to take us to break. This is absurd. I'm sorry, Bill Belichick. You had to suffer through this as well. Coming up, the Bills have won 8 straight. Now they face the defending champs. We'll tell you who has the early edge in the AFC Championship next. Speak for yourself. Now, you the analyst. Tell me about Howard versus Gronk. The NFL playoffs continue Sunday with the NFC Championship presented by TurboTax Live, and Tom Brady and the Buccaneers take on Aaron Rodgers and the Packers. Pre-game coverage starts at 1 p.m. Eastern on Fox and the Fox Sports app. Let's move to the AFC where the Bills, my Bills, will face off against the Chiefs on the road in Sunday's AFC Championship game. Buffalo lost to KC back in October, but they have been red hot since, winning 11 of their last 12. Wow. Chiefs will be monitoring Patrick Mahomes very closely. Adam Schefter reports Mahomes cleared some big steps yesterday, but is still in concussion protocol. He added KC has hope and optimism he can play on Sunday. Bucky is back with us, but Acho, who has the early edge in the AFC Championship game?
I'm going to say the Chiefs. The Chiefs have the edge because if there are 2 games, the game on the field and the game within the mind, then you have to go with the team that has already conquered things within their mind as of late and as of ever. Think about the Chiefs. Not only had they won the Super Bowl last year, they went to the conference championship the year before. This is a team with a seasoned quarterback, a seasoned head coach, seasoned wide receivers, just about seasoned everything you need as it pertains to having success. So who has the mental edge? It's the Chiefs. Also, these teams met head-to-head. The Bills only lost 3 times all season. Really, they lost twice if you want to discount that Texans Hail Murray. So who beat the Bills? It was the Chiefs. So you have a mental edge because you've seen this team. You've beat this team before. You have a mental edge because you've been in this position before, and you've gone beyond this position before. I think the Chiefs absolutely have the early edge in the AFC Championship.
Nah, you know I'm riding with that mafia over here because Look, that head-to-head stuff, you know in the postseason everyone's record is the same 0-0. Oh, ask the New Orleans Saints about head-to-head matchups. Not only did they beat them once, they beat them twice and found out the hard way. Don't walk in with ammunition that is called arrogance. So, no. I'm looking at the NFL's number 2 scoring offense from the regular season, 31 points a game. That hasn't got on track yet in the postseason, only 22 points a game. Yet they haven't lost in this postseason yet, obviously. But if you look at them, defensively, number 1 defense that is still playing in the playoffs. So if they can finally get on track offensively like they have for the entire part of the year, and then the defense just continues to do what they want to do, And Patrick Mahomes, even if he is out there, is he Patrick Mahomes, or is he just a guy with a jersey on that says Mahomes on the back? It's going to be interesting as this week progresses to see the updates from Kansas City. But I know one thing, in Buffalo, those boys are feeling themselves.
Man, Marcellus, a lot of ifs and this and
well,
if
I mean,
that,
the game hasn't been played yet.
If ifs and buts were candy and nuts every day for Christmas, I don't know what to do with all of that. So here's what I do know. What you're hoping, like you're banking on hope, the Chiefs are doing on no. They know they can knock off the Bills because they've done it, and they did it in their place. And when you think about a team that has been to 3 straight conference title games, 1 Super Bowl, talked about building a dynasty, and they haven't lost much. This is a team that knows that they're the best team in the AFC. And when you go back and you look at the game when they played the Bills early in the season, they ran the ball for almost 275 yards. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, had his way with the Buffalo Bills. They moved up and down the field. And then from a defensive standpoint, they forced Josh Allen into one of the worst days of the season. And so if I'm the Kansas City Chiefs, I come in full of confidence knowing that the Buffalo Bills team that ran all over everybody in the league is coming off a performance where they only put up 10 points. Josh Allen doesn't have a running back behind him. This is the Josh Allen show. I just don't know if that's going to be enough to be the juggernaut that is the Kansas City Chiefs.
Here's the other issue is that the Bills can't stick with the program that got them there. The Bills' last game against the Ravens, they didn't even attempt a running play with the running back until the second quarter, 3 minutes, 7 seconds left in the second quarter. Only one design run in the whole first half. 2 runs in total. Josh Allen kept the ball for a scramble early in the second quarter as well. So if you are the Bills, you got to understand, you're not going to beat the Chiefs by a shootout. So you better get to running the ball, which is the opposite of what you did just last week against the Ravens. Also, if you're the Bills, yes, you beat the Ravens, but how did you do it? You didn't beat the Ravens because the offense had some sort of explosive fireworks show. You beat the Ravens because you had a 101-yard interception for a touchdown going the other way. If that's the blueprint you think will work to beat the Chiefs, you better think again. I understand Patrick Mahomes' concussion protocol, etc., but I'm going to trust a quarterback who's won 24 out of his last 25 games before I trust a Bills team who won last week, but they won with a completely different style of play than it'll take to beat the Chiefs.
Man, y'all think I'm reaching. Y'all over here reaching. Did I just hear a Clyde Edwards-Helaire alert? You better bring up the Buffalo game, because since that Buffalo game, Bucky, you over here slipping, Bucky. What has he done? Yeah. I'm looking at his numbers. Brian even got over 79 yards, 69, 21, 14, 32, 30. What the hell you talking about like he gonna show up and show out? I don't know about that. Look, just being real. They played the Cleveland Browns. When Patrick Mahomes was concussed, they were only up 9 on Baker Mayfield and the Cleveland Browns. Now, I know that's a good team, but Baker Mayfield ain't Josh Allen. So you only up 9 on that game. You only win by 5. It was against the backup. I get all that. But it was a 9-point game, and that ain't Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. That's not Stephon Diggs out there who had 100-plus yards in each of his outings in the postseason. So, look, you look at this Chiefs offense and them putting up 22, that ain't going to get it against these Buffalo Bills, brother. And we know who's been the hotter quarterback since week 13. Not even a conversation. Points per game, 35 for Josh Allen. Completion percentage, 69.5, higher than Mahomes. Total touchdowns and turnover ratio, higher than Mahomes, better than Mahomes. Passer rating, killing Mahomes. Look, I know the Chiefs have been here, done that, and are ready for this moment. But if last week was any indication that if Patrick Mahomes is compromised, better watch out for the Mafia.
Oh, okay. So what I heard you say is Josh Allen's a better quarterback than Pat Mahomes. Is that what we're saying?
No, I said
no. That's what you said.
Like
let's make sure we clip that off and send it out to the stratosphere.
He's hotter.
Yeah.
And
he's a better quarterback than Pat Mahomes. Here's what I was saying about Clyde Edwards-Helaire. What the Buffalo Bills did in the first game, they tried to play bend but don't break. They sat back, they put the safeties in the parking lot, and they basically dared the Kansas City Chiefs to run the ball. And what they did, they ran it, almost ran for 300 yards. So if they want to take that strategy where they're playing keep away and want to run it, they can't do it because Josh Allen can't be the quarterback and the primary running back. And Pat Mahomes has shown the discipline to, hey, I'll just keep taking these nickel and dimes. I'll keep tallying them up and putting money in the bank. And so I don't know if the Buffalo Bills, I don't believe the Buffalo Bills can stop the Kansas City Chiefs offense over 60 minutes. And if Patrick Mahomes plays, I believe it's an absolute done deal. And that pains me being a part of Bills Mafia, but I just seen this offense tally up points. I don't believe the Buffalo Bills can win a shootout. I don't want to say pin the Kansas City Chiefs in, but go ahead and write their name in pencil in the Super Bowl.
Man, you know this Chiefs offense has been struggling. Now their leader is concussed. We'll see how he comes back. The Chiefs haven't won a game by double digits since they beat the Jets November 1st when I was still 45 years old. Bruh, y'all better watch out. Things have changed. Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Boy, stop. Coming up, Jared Goff is on a rocky road in L.A. We'll tell you if the Rams should consider moving on from their franchise quarterback. That's next. Speak for yourself.
Welcome back to Speak for Yourself. Jared Goff was not impressive in the Rams' season-ending loss to the Packers while nursing a thumb injury. But head coach Sean McVay was asked about the future status of his quarterback after the game and said he's, quote, our quarterback right now. NFL Network reports the relationship between Goff and McVay is, quote, not great and they need marriage counseling. Goff still has 3 years left on his massive $134 million contract. So, Marcellus, should the Rams consider moving on from Jared Goff?
Consider it, yeah, because we know they're having this conversation. How do we know they're having a conversation? By their actions. When Wolford started Week 17, Jared Goff was upset, like Deshaun Watson style. He was in his feelings of how he was capable of playing, but y'all were going to choose the backup. Let me tell you why they chose the backup. Because upstairs, whenever they make a move like that, it's already because of discussion. Because we got some issues with Jared Goff. Whether we see the talent of Wolford, which we can see he's a dual-threat quarterback and look kind of good out there. But also, they want to start to deflate you, Jared Goff, and your contract extension of $33.5 million a season because it's time to start to consider moving on from you. Now, there's a lot of ammunition supporting Jared Goff and why he should still be the franchise quarterback. Top 10 total offense in 3 of the last 4 years. You got to talk about he went to the Super Bowl. But at the same time, they're looking at this situation, and it's so funny. It's so similar to Deshaun Watson. They don't want to say it with their chest. So they're trying to send that hint. They're trying to send that message. And then Jared Goff reacted this way. I ask you this, Acho. In life, have you ever told a convenient lie to really escape the hard truth? Now, we all have. We've all kind of like, let me dance around this. And there are no coincidences in the NFL. When I was playing at my peak powers, I never left the game. When they start rotating me, it was because they were like, yo, you kind of a little suspect in terms of performance right now. Same way they're feeling about Jared Goff and his performances. So, yeah, this was intentional. We'll see how it plays out.
I like that take. They definitely should consider moving on from Jared Goff. It's very simple. Sean McVay is looking at Jared Goff like, wait a second. You need me. I don't need you.
Boom.
Before Jared Goff found and met up with and connected with Sean McVay, Jared Goff was 0-7 under Jeff Fisher, under Jim Fossil. I get that. These guys are not necessarily quarterback gurus, but he was 0-7 nonetheless. Then Jared Goff met Sean McVay. Experiences the honeymoon phase that lasts 2 years, including a Super Bowl. They go 24-7 over that first stretch. But then you got to look at the next 2 years, because the next 2 years are only 18-3. The next 2 years, Jared Goff's passing touchdown-interception ratio declining 42-29. Yards per attempt, passer rating, everything has gone down. I think Sean McVay is looking at Jared Goff, is looking at the honeymoon phase and realize, wait a second, the honeymoon phase has ended. Wait a second, Jared Goff, maybe your talent level has ended. Sean McVay won a must-win game against the Arizona Cardinals with Wolford. Sean McVay was going to beat Seattle with Wolford, Because he beat him with Goff completing 9 passes. Marcellus, I'm going to end my first lap. Maybe my only lap like this. I've now become a more humble individual.
Since when? This is the humble version? Lord, I'm glad I just met you.
I was in college, bro. And I'm not a huge Big Sean guy, but I like Big Sean. I know you rock with Big Sean. I think Big Sean said one time, he said, leaving with me, it'll boost your reputation. I told that to a young lady once. True story.
That came out your mouth?
True story.
Well, y'all listen to the song at the same time?
No. I meant it. I was like, I was that dude that texted. I was like, leaving with me, it'll boost your reputation. And that bar hit me. You have to realize, man, playing with Sean McVay has boosted Jared Goff's reputation. Because Jared Goff without Sean McVay, he ain't really all that. But Jared Goff with Sean McVay, Super Bowl attender, $134 million contract, a franchise quarterback.
Yeah.
Jared Goff got to realize, without Sean McVay, hey, you ain't the same cat.
Damn, see, here we go again. You creating a ghetto version of Brady and Belichick. Who are you without me? Oh, man, I don't know. It's a ghetto food stamp version of it. Not Sean McVay. You, Jared. Here's the thing. I think you're right. Sean McVay's like, have we plateaued with this dude? I know he's a #1 overall pick. I get it. But 10 games with 90-plus passer rating, which is good, and then 7 games with a sub-90 passer rating this year. That's not good. So he's 4th in passing yards since 2017, but he's also 4th in interceptions thrown. Like, which way is up? It's time for Jared Goff to kind of stick his head out and show who he is. But this offseason, he's going to have to flex in conversation before he even gets a chance in performance. Coming up, a post about Tom Brady's first trip to the NFC Championship game got Dak Prescott's attention. We'll tell you if we like Dak's response. That's next. Speak for yourself. Welcome back to Speak for Yourself. Tom Brady is headed to his 14th championship game this weekend. Man, that's a lot. But it's his first trip in the NFC as a Buck. Check out this post on Instagram that pointed out since 1997, Brady has more NFC Championship game appearances than the Cowboys. Well, that did not sit well with a rehabbing Dak Prescott, who responded to Ezekiel Elliott to, quote, hold my crutches. I'll tell you, like Dak clapping back here.
So I'm reminded of a phrase growing up, I laugh so I don't cry. I think Dak Prescott was like, you know what? Let me go ahead and make a joke about this situation, because this situation is actually a tear-invoking situation.
Oh.
I mean, you're only talking about the Detroit Lions and the Washington football team that have had longer NFC championship droughts. So the Cowboys, I think, are about 25 years of an NFC championship drought. That's a tear-invoking statistic if you are a Cowboys fan, if you Dak Prescott. I think Dak Prescott also wants to beat the narrative. Because Dak Prescott's about to make $68 million in the event he gets tagged again.
Man.
He's going to make $68 million over 2 years. Patrick Mahomes would have made $63 million over 3 years. Now, people aren't counting Dak Prescott's money yet. People ain't perusing through Dak Prescott's wallet just yet. But Dak, after you make that 63, they're going to start looking at Dak like, wait a second, we paying you all this money, and they going to say what Marcellus is saying about Deshaun. Where the wins at?
Where they at, bro?
And so Dak Prescott beating the narrative, letting everybody know, like, hey, this injury ain't holding me back. I'm actually out here trying to go win these games. He needs to create the narrative before we, the media, create it for him.
That's a good take. That's a different take. I didn't think it like that. I looked at this situation like, I like it because it's malice-free. No shade, just respect to Tom Brady, the GOAT. And it's impossible to actually do. Like Dak Prescott sitting back at the crib, hold my crutches. And then what? You ain't gonna do jack. You can't get up. I can hold your crutches all day. Somebody need to hold you up. You ain't going anywhere. So I took it as harmless. But more than that, it was actually mature. It was actually grown. Think about it. Dak Prescott led the #1 scoring offense this year while healthy. Dak Prescott, when healthy, has never had a losing season. Dak Prescott throws for yards and yards and yards. Most quarterback wins, passing yards, and passing touchdowns in Cowboys history. He knows he has accolades. He knows he has a resume. But damn, compared to that guy, I have nothing. So I think it was almost like, oh, I'm coming for that guy, like in that kind of competitive spirit way. When we know he can't do jack right now, and we know that his team didn't do jack this year, but when I am healthy, Zeke, hold me back, because I'm coming for Tom Brady.
Bro, I'm glad you said that. And I respect Dak. Everybody knows I've been hypercritical, but I respect Dak. But I also think it's kind of like that dude who's like, hey, hold me back, but then you let him go and they don't do nothing.
Well, don't say that.
I have to.
You just said you hypercritical of him, and then you apologize, and then you got hypercritical.
I have to because he said, Zeke, hold my crutches, as if when Dak was with the Cowboys, they were good. Like, remember, when Dak was with the Cowboys, they were still bad. So, Zeke, hold my crutches, assuming, like, hey, when I'm healthy, we about to be here making noise.
Yeah.
Y'all still ain't gone to an NFC Championship game. No losing seasons.
Yeah.
But Zeke holding your crutches, what you about to do, Dak?
Yeah. Well, more importantly, what's Zeke gonna do? Fumble the crutches? Like, Zeke can't hold no crutches because he can't hold over his first 4 NFL seasons. He's only second to one guy, Tom Brady. So he's basically like Superman, Spider-Man, whatever the hell it is. I'm looking like you, but I am so far away from you. Now, when I get my opportunity, when healthy again, I'm going to close this gap. We'll see. Coming up, Uncle Jimmy joins us with his own thoughts on the new look Nets. That's next. Speak for yourself. Zeke, like, where'd the crutch go? I dropped one. Before we go, we asked earlier if the Nets have put the NBA on notice. Well, Uncle Jimmy has his own point of view on what's going on in Brooklyn. What's up, Unc?
Hey, man.
Hey, man.
Check this out.
What's up, man?
KD and the Brooklyn Nets put the entire Eastern Conference on notice. Meaning that if you notice right after the game, Kevin Durant walked straight up to Artemis Godimus Optimapuco, and he told him, he said, look at me. He said, look at me.
He said, I'm the captain now?
He said, I am the captain now. I am the new head Shaq bully. I am the what you may call the HNIC.
Oh, wow, okay.
I am the head net in charge. Hey, man, last night Kevin Durant looked like an assassin on a mission.
Yeah.
And that man don't care about the fact that the back of his head looked like a Nestle Crunch bar either.
You don't. At all?
Hey, man, somebody better tell the Lakers, and they better tell LeBron specifically, that they better watch their back. See, LeBron ain't gonna be happy till he end up just like Stringer Bell from The Wire. See, LeBron don't realize KD ain't well. Word on the street is that the boy crazy as hell. That boy gonna show up at the Staples Center wearing a black trench coat, whistling Farmer in the Dale. Hey, he coming for the king, and he ain't gonna miss.
Oh, dry lips. You can't whistle. I just heard that you can't whistle. Uncle Jimmy, you okay? You got one of them stuck strokes again. Here we go. I'm with you, Uncle. Everybody's on notice. That's it for us. We'll see you tomorrow. I'm with you, Uncle.